In service to the infinite light within us all, I am Sri Velgaka, the Divine Dispenser. I'm here with Joe Prindle, founder of Phytopanacea, Certified Nutrition. Joe, you're looking pretty great. What are you wearing there?
Some organic cotton and bamboo blend, long sleeve.
That's what I like to hear. More people need to be wearing stuff like that. Let's get started. What are your thoughts on meat and dairy?
I think meat is definitely not good for the body. If you look at the research, you don't want to be consuming large amounts of it, that's for sure. And if you are consuming small amounts that are high quality, you can probably get away with it if you're eating primarily plant-based and you're doing a lot of other healthy things. But in terms of what it does inside your body, it's not good. It promotes the production of TAMO or TMAO, which is trimethylamine oxide, which is a potent liver toxin and potent cardiovascular toxin. It promotes the growth of unhealthy bacteria in your gut and displaces the good bacteria. It's rich in a sugar that's called Nu5GC, which is a anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer compound. So, dietary cholesterol is terrible for the liver. We're finding out that, this is like 2019, 2018 research, that it basically severely disrupts your liver function. So definitely want to avoid that. So on every level, when you look at it, red meat in general is not really a good thing to put into the body. Like I said, you can maybe get away with it if you're eating high quality and you're doing a ton of other good things, but in terms of its straight up analysis, it's not really that healthy of a food.
What about dairy and eggs?
Eggs are rich in oxidized cholesterol. They're called oxysterols, and they also promote the production of TMAO within the gut. Fermented dairy is probably the best animal food, I would say, that you could get. It's linked to, it has some health benefits according to the research, but in terms of, it's kind of like picking your poison when it comes to dairy because, for example, for men, prostate cancer increases when you drink milk. And so there are things where it'll show benefits for one thing, but then you get a harmful effect in another regard. So when it comes to dairy, it's really kind of picking your poison. But in terms of its comparison to all other animal foods, it's probably the best one to go with.
What about honey?
Honey is good. I don't consider that necessarily an animal food. I mean, I guess technically it's from an insect, but raw honey is really good, really beneficial. Super rich in enzymes, antibacterial compounds, and very beneficial.
How long have you been plant-based and what's your experience with it?
For about 10
What's it
years.
been like? What's the experience been like specifically?
I've been plant-based for about 10 years, and it's been great. I had a lot of health issues before. Not a lot of health issues, but I was leaning down the path of a lot of health issues. I had like massive social anxiety. I had definitely had bouts of depression. I would have rashes like on the back sides of my arms, and just random things here and there that were indications of poor health. And ever since going plant-based, my skin has cleared up a lot. I feel a lot better, and yeah, I mean, I feel overall more energy and just better on every level.
What kind of water do you use?
I distill my own water and I add mineral drops to it.
Do you have a filtration system for your house for all the other water that you shower in?
Yeah, we use the Aquasana filter. It's actually a filter that goes in the basement, so it's like a whole household filter, which includes the shower. But Symbiotica has a really good brand as well. So yeah,
What are your thoughts on sauna usage?
I love it. So many benefits. Great for the cardiovascular system. Great for hormones. Boosts the production of human growth hormone. Has longevity benefits. So I love it. Great for detoxification, of course, as well. Sweating out heavy metals and other toxins.
Doesn't it produce heat shock proteins as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it helps to stimulate muscle growth.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are your favorite herbs and superfoods?
I like Chlorella and spirulina, super greens, super algae, are really good for the body because they bind to toxins, and they're basically like nature's multivitamin because they're so dense in nutrients. I also like Schisandra and Panax ginseng, which are super powerful adaptogens that have a ton of benefits. Schisandra is great for the liver, helps to stimulate both phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification in the liver. It's great for the brain. It's great for women going through menopause. It helps to balance your adrenals and your HPA axis. Ginseng, great for men. Great benefits for testosterone boosts, energy production, and just overall great for the immune system, and a powerful anti-cancer herb as well.
I love ginseng as well.
Yeah, it's great.
Tell me about your experience with fasting.
So earlier this year, I did a 10.5-day water-only fast, and towards the end, it got pretty rough, which is why I had to break it. I was going for 11 days, but I had to break it with some diluted juice. Fasting overall has a great benefits for the body. It helps to not only detoxify the body, but it literally regenerates your organs. It regenerates your immune system. It regenerates your gut. And I did actually this year I went on a 21-day cleanse, which included the first week was all liquids and one meal. The second week was all liquids, and the third week was only water. I made it to 4 days on that. I think it was because I was losing too much weight. You know, I kind of started off after those 2 weeks of cleansing, going into the water fast. My weight was already pretty low, so I got to 4 days of that, and you just feel like after you regenerate your body, after you get through the rough phases of the fast, you just kind of feel refreshed and renewed, like a part of you, like you have like a brand new system that you're operating with.
Definitely.
So,
What are your thoughts on urine therapy?
you know, I've heard that it has a lot of benefits. I've heard about the stem cells. I've heard about the hormones. I don't know what to think about it necessarily in the modern day, unless you're doing it in small amounts, just because of the fact that we live in like a really toxic environment. So we're always excreting poisons and toxins from our urine. So that would be my only concern with it. But ideally, if you're living a clean lifestyle, then I've heard it has a lot of health benefits. I wish there was more research into the topic. It's hard to say for sure, but I would say that if you're going to do it, you want to collect midstream urine. So not, number one, you don't want to do the first urine of the day because that's what is the most concentration of toxins. And number two, you don't want to do what initially comes out because that's, again, where more toxins are. So you want to collect midstream. So if you're doing that in small amounts, it's very possible that it has health benefits, and even larger amounts. Maybe we'll find out one day with the research.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. Makes sense. All right. We're going to switch the pace a little bit here. What are your thoughts on how Trump has done the past 4 years compared to other presidents in the past?
Well, in spite of what you might have heard on various mainstream media news sources, he's actually done a ton of good things. He's had four peace deals in the Middle East. He signed an executive order that guaranteed $250 million a year for historically black colleges. He signed the First Step Act, which released thousands of prisoners from jail for nonviolent drug offenses. So there's a lot of people serving time for things that they really shouldn't be behind bars for. And he released a lot of them, and 91% of those people were black men. So this whole thing that he's a racist doesn't add up when you look at his actual actions. People said that he was going to start a world war or a nuclear war with North Korea and Kim Jong-il, and then what happened? He went over there and struck actually a friendship with him, and they've had a peaceful relationship ever since. So I think there's a lot of, I know it's an overused phrase, if people don't like the phrase, but it's perfect. There's a lot of fake news out there, literally just fictional fictional stories that somebody created, and they're pushing on the masses as if it's truth. So there's a very, very, very long list of benefits that he's done. I don't remember every single one of them, but I could easily find it and show it, attach it to this video post.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the possible sealed indictments?
I hope so. I hope it happens. I think that there's a good possibility that some of these things are going to come to fruition. So we'll see. It's hard to tell at this point, but we'll see.
What are your thoughts on the QAnon conspiracy?
You know, Q is an interesting phenomenon. I think there's, regardless of what you think of it, some people think it's a psyop, some people think it's a cult. Regardless of what you think of it, the fact of the matter is that he or they, whoever it is, whoever Q is, definitely teaches people to think for themselves, teaches people to question the narrative, to ask important questions, not just to believe what you hear on TV. And I think when you go and look back at a lot of the posts, that he's actually been accurate on a lot of them. And I'm not saying for sure that this is a guy who has government intel. He very well may be, he, she, they, very well may be a part of that. I think we'll find out soon, but I think just interesting, definitely an interesting character who has provided a lot of interesting information to open one's mind. That's for sure.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the election currently, this current status of the election?
I think there's a lot of evidence that there's a lot of election fraud going on, and I think that it's going to get taken to court. I think it's ultimately going to get decided by the Supreme Court, and we're going to actually see just how much fraud there was that was taking place. I've heard about the watermarks, that there may be watermarks on all the official ballots, and there's so many stories that I've come across, people who are actually working in these polls. I've heard, that one person was saying that there were people who were registered to vote in 1900 and born in 1921. So not only would that make them 120 years old, but that would mean that they registered to vote 21 years before they were even born. So just crazy stuff like that. Also, how like in Michigan, they were almost finished doing all the ballot counting, and then 3 vehicles showed up. One was a Ferrari. This is according to a worker at one of the Michigan polls. One of them was a Ferrari, and they showed up and they dumped like 130,000 ballots off, and 100% of them were for Joe Biden. So that's statistically impossible. So I think we're going to see, as it progresses into court, I think we're going to see a lot of this election fraud coming to fruition, and that people are going to see firsthand for themselves just how radical and the lengths that people are willing to go to claim victory.
I totally agree. Fully exposed media and Democrats.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be arrests that happen after as well. People who are involved in these frauds, involved in the cheating, potentially cheating. I think they're going to be arrested and held accountable.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Joe Prindle. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.